Hey guys, in today's video we're going to go over the Spring Summer 2021 collection for Rick Owens. So in this video it's going to be a little bit different for the one I did for Performa. I'm not going to go over every look that I liked per se, more just going to discuss the collection as a whole, especially kind of my main thoughts about it. This collection probably will be one of the most controversial for Rick Owens. Just because I would say it is very different from what he's done before, especially because the amount of content we kind of received with the showing of this collection is pretty minimized compared to what we've gotten in the past. So for those of you guys who don't know, the collection wasn't presented in a runway like normal collections are. Instead, we were provided a lookbook of around 30 looks and then a 10 or so minute video of Rick Owens styling Tyrone Dillon in most of these looks. Tyrone is effectively Rick's boyfriend and kind of his main male muse and main model for his collections at the moment. So before we go further into the video, I'm just going to read the show notes out while I let a bit of that video with Tyrone play so you guys kind of get an idea of what this collection is supposed to be about. Spring Summer 2021 Phlegethon, June 2020. Phlegethon is one of the rivers in the Inferno described in Dante's Divine Comedy. Not quite the center of hell, but on the way there. Romanticizing doom has always been an adolescent mood, but it's a classic way to confront fear and instability. Hope for the best, but plan for the worst. My last fall runway shoulder freakout wasn't about power, it was about defiance. Defiance in the face of threat. Those shoulders reappear in the spring collection on coats and jackets with the sleeves ripped off, leaving a raw armhole with remnants of white linings as a riot corsage. Black grain de Padre tailoring is traced with white stitched level lines. Single decisive lines suggest order and reason, and geometric satin ciphers have been inlaid into lapels. Our monster shoulders are also jammed into small leather jackets and swallowed with tight knit sleeves. We called them Cobra sleeves in the studio during their development, and it stuck. Arms on our Kunst jackets are also extended into sharp, glam gargle shoulders, framing the face and lengthening the arm. Trapunto shoulder patches are the influence of my Larry Legaspi research while compiling a book on him released last year. These patches are appliqued to Pergamena leather from Mota Alfredo, the leather used for our first Italian-produced collection 18 years ago. Most of the leathers used in this collection are double-faced with minimal unlined construction, including a 0.8mm thick Neapolitan-produced juicy double-faced leather we call double butter. We did a Neapolitan gelato D-grade print on chiffon and crepe, extending it to knits. These knits double up, peel up, and down like a banana, covering or exposing at will. A group of knits and swimwear has been developed from the membrane t-shirts from our Spring Summer 18 Dirt collection. Another knit story of mesh tanks originates from the masks used in Fall Winter 12 Mountain. Jackets, dresses, shorts, and skirts are also presented in stretched denim surfaced with the pallets custom made from US from recycled plastics. Recycled plastic is also used in our shoes and raincoats. There is some debate in our studio whether the use of recycled plastic glorifies using a toxic material there are other options for, or finding a way to reuse something that already exists. Then we get to the tulle. Black tulle used in transparent dresses, girdered and trussed with heavy seeming worn over t-shirt slips. Tulle is also rigorously pleated into disciplined little geo-ruffles applied in grids and angled fields on jackets and mantles. To counterbalance the heft of our shoulders, we introduce a bozo ballast boot shape with our Bauhaus zipped cargo pocket. We've developed jewelry with Goossens, the Parisian maison, creating work for Madame Chanel and Monsieur Saint Laurent in the 1950s. Both created strong cuffs, and in that tradition, we have created ours. So as common for show notes, it's definitely a tongue twister. I dare you guys to try to read that out. That took me a million tries, and this will be very choppy because of it. Rick is saying a lot of things. Funny enough is some of the things he mentioned are not actually really visible in the looks. I don't believe the Kunst shoulders, which are the giant balloon shoulders, reminiscent of LeCourbe's Modular Man, are actually in this collection, and references to skirts and dresses I'm not sure as well. If I were to simplify this completely into one kind of idea of what I think about this collection, I would just say it's very commercial. I think that this show will have to have a large kind of footnote when thinking about it in the overall arc of the Rick Owens brand, because Rick himself in a Vogue interview stated that he was planning to represent Performa up to a day before this digital collection was shown, and then he kind of 180'd and felt that he should present his new work. This is kind of why we get only a small lookbook of just Tyrone wearing the pieces, and also just a pretty simply edited video of them styling Tyrone for the shot. In some ways, I actually kind of would have preferred if he just represented Performa in maybe a new and interesting way, especially because the production of that is getting delayed so much that it would be okay, I think, to show it again, just because there could be some major changes in what actually is coming to the market because of the supply chain in Italy being essentially closed for 3 months. Rick has also kind of just stated that this new collection is taking Performa and dialing it back. And while I think that is of course going to appeal on a commercial basis to more buyers, we're not looking for the overly kind of exposing looks that Rick has been presenting in the most recent collection. For some people, of course, this is going to be a nice thing. I think there's a lot of returns of pieces that were kind of reminiscent of Rick's kind of all black phase that most people on a general level seem to think Rick is about. Personally, for me, just as somebody who's really into the brand and who's been liking where the arc of the brand has been going in recent years, it's a bit of a letdown, because what he's been doing in these past seasons is taking an idea that started in Fall Winter 19 with Larry, which is this idea of this like sexy, skinny, slinky look, very exposed, big heels, and that sort of idea, and he's been ramping it up. So tech, we got Dylan tees, which are just giant deep V-necks, and we get even more of this like slinky look. And then Performa comes even crazier with like asymmetrical bodysuits that like hug your nuts and stuff. So to see this kind of revert to something that maybe be closer to Larry or Tech is a little unexciting. I'd rather he just 180'd in a completely new direction like he does sometimes and explored a completely different look or idea. I think that like scaling it down, I don't see the benefit of that. It just makes it seem old, even though there are like some new pieces. Along with that, there is a lot of stuff that he's bringing back, and while that is going to of course appeal on a commercial level to people who didn't get those pieces in the past and would like to buy them now, personally I just don't exactly enjoy the fact that that made it to what is effectively the runway for the season. What Rick has done in the past when he presents these older pieces is he just includes them in the kind of mainline or even dark shadow for selling them, but he doesn't actually have them really surface on the runway unless they're blended really well. Here it felt like we got a few new pieces like the batwing tops, some new heels, and some new jackets and such, and then it was kind of mashed together with older pieces that may have had small edits to kind of bring them up to the ideas he's been working with now. Some examples of this would obviously be like putting a Stooges jacket on the runway, and then the main difference is just adding a belt to it. For me, I was just like, that's boring. Plus the fact that, like, for me at least, a Stooges, the benefit is there is no belt, because that's probably my least favorite part of a Perfecto jacket. Also, just like putting tailored Masto cargos back on the runway, again, it's like whatever that it's there. I would say that I do like how it looks on the Kiss heels. I think that interaction is nice and something we haven't seen from the brand yet. And then also, yeah, like pink cargo baskets, they're funny and hilarious, and they probably will sell well for him because they, at least from everybody I've talked to, they do enjoy it. It is like something where I'm just like, okay, did that need to be on runway? Does it make sense? And again, it's just like there's a lot of ideas that I just question exactly if they belong, such as the tank tops, which are kind of shredded to match the mountain beanies. It's like it's interesting, but again, I don't exactly get where it mixes in here. Also the Neapolitan print stuff, I guess it was reading from the show notes, it's like a joke on a type of lining for a coat, but at the same time it's like it's just kind of weird. Also the plaid he uses, of course, is a call to the ugly flannels that Tyrone wears in that kind of same yellow plaid, or like a very saturated blue, which may also make it to this. But it's kind of just strange to see like a look where they're wearing drop crotch trousers in 2021 for Rick. Just seems like something that normally would just be put into production and sale, not actually be shown on the runway, because it doesn't really match with what his aesthetic is right now. I know that it's already kind of seeming that I'm being very negative about this collection, but of course there are some things that I still like. I like that he's bringing back the throat colorway. I saw it on one of the Dylan tees for the looks, and I actually I like that Dylan tee a lot. That'd be another cool thing to add. It's just a nice color for that tee. Also the Batwing tops are really interesting. They actually look worse on Tyrone, I would say, than they were in, I believe, an ID mag shot, where I think they were styled a lot better, or at least they fit the model better. I think they're really interesting. They've got this very tight, long rib on the bottom that allows you to kind of like scrunch it up a lot, or kind of extend it how you like. Also just the cut where it does have this very Batwing effect when your arms are up is really nice, and I think it kind of matches with the print it has on the shoulders as well very well. Also the Gundam Kiss boots are super cool. I recently saw a video of Tyrone putting them on, and it's hilarious. It looks like the most terrible thing trying to get them on, and I don't even know what you could really wear with them besides like what Tyrone does, which is literally just a Speedo. But I think they're super cool and just crazy, and it was like a nice surprise because I kind of thought nothing more could be done with a Kiss boot, and Rick's proven me wrong with this. These are crazy looking. Also the Bauhaus boots with this like chunky, almost like Mickey boot kind of toe. Very interesting. I like those a lot. The shape is really nice, and I like that they have those like Bauhaus cargo pockets on the side. Besides that, again, I can't really call out a lot of stuff that I loved. Just per se, it's like a lot of, again, the stuff is, it just feels like it's recycled stuff or leftovers from Performa, or it's some callback to an older season, which is always like a cool thing, and I'd have an interest in buying, but it's not like it's gonna wow me as far as presenting it as part of a new collection. I do hope that maybe he does something a little bit more interesting for the women's collection. Maybe with having a little bit more time, he could put something together that would be more interesting. Just because I know that, of course, it was difficult for Rick to present anything for this, just because the supply chain in Italy was totally destroyed for the past 3 months, which is kind of like when you are producing stuff for the new collection. Not to mention he has to worry about his flagship stores and getting just production done for Performa, which is already, again, heavily delayed, and a lot of the stuff that was shown is probably not going to release, unfortunately. At the same time, there's been some really amazing shows and digital presentations by brands that are much smaller than Rick, and bigger as well, that were much more interesting, and I would say get you much more excited for the newer season. So at the same time, it's kind of like, it's a dual-edged sword. Of course, Rick, you can't blame him for not doing something crazy considering the current conditions, but at the same time, there were people who showed that you could put in the work maybe to get it done that way, and I kind of wish that he had done something like that, especially because he has done videos in the past that I think are really strong to what his brand is and are much more interesting than just watching a guy get styled, especially because he kind of did that for Performa as well, for that Concordia video with high Snobiety. Well guys, I think that's just kind of gonna end the video. Again, all in all, I was just mostly just unimpressed. I wouldn't say it's a terrible season, and I definitely wouldn't say it was a great one either. It's kind of just meh, to be said. Hopefully we'll get a better idea of what this collection is going to be with a rollout later, and then again, hopefully a better women's collection as well. I want you guys to let me know what you guys thought of the collection, also this video. Subscribe if you like this and you want to see more videos. I'm planning to finally get to doing the women's runway for Performa, and then of course I'll cover the women's part of Spring Summer 2021, whatever that ends up being. And don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Besides that, I'll just say peace.